Okay. Let's see. So welcome everyone to our Impact Talk session number 1. Where we will be talking about sustainability and D&I today. We are also recording the session. It's going live on LinkedIn. I hope it works. I don't know. But let's hear from everyone here on Zoom. Great. Iceland, from Helsinki, from Sweden. So many amazing people joining us today. Thank you. We are still waiting for a couple of more people. And while we do that, I'm going to quickly introduce you to who we are, what is BusinessWiz, what we do, and why we do what we do. So I'm going to share my screen very quickly, and then soon after we will jump to have a discussion with our guest today, who is Susanna Saikkonen, our very amazing. I'm going to talk about her more because I have known her for quite some time, and it's a pleasure that she was able to join us today. Great. So before I jump into the introduction, I just wanted to take a second and get all of us on the same page, because some people have texted me and asked, what does E means in D&I? What is equity? What is this? So I thought that before we start, to give an idea that what diversity, equity, inclusion means, and then we can have this discussion continued. Now, DEI is the short form which we will be using quite a lot today. So if you're wondering what does it mean, this is what it means. And there are a plethora of definitions that we have. And I have just picked some common definitions of what diversity, equity, inclusion means. Diversity means differences and various identities and unique values that are present in a group. So for example, today, we are so many people from different backgrounds, expertise, identities, and values. That is what makes a group or a team diverse. Equity is a concept where we can recognize that each person has different circumstances. We are all unique. And then we can allocate the resources and opportunities that are needed to all of us reach to an equal outcome. And then inclusion is an effort to create an environment where we can all respect each other, value people, and ultimately create a sense of belonging and psychological safety. So now that we are on the same platform, let me introduce a little bit more about who we are. And that's our nice, amazing, fun team right there. So we are a B2B service provider for diversity, equity, and inclusion services. And we help enable sustainable workplace transformation in the Nordics. The BusinessWiz was started as an initiative inspired by my own personal experience working in the tech industry for a long time, very closely with the HR and talent team, and seeing how huge gap we have in understanding among the leadership and people in general of why diversity is important, how to work with people from different backgrounds, and how can we provide them this environment where they feel they can be authentic and themselves. So together with my co-founder, who you can see here, Samuli Yrjönen, he is a leader. He has been working in the construction industry for a long time in executive and leadership positions. He understands why having an inclusive workplace is essential for a company to survive. We created BusinessWiz in 2019. And soon after, we were joined by Aurora, who is now our inclusive marketing and communication specialist. Awesome person, and we love to have her on the team, and together with all the other people who drop in and support us as and when we need it. We are super thankful for everyone. So as I mentioned, our vision is to create an inclusive society, and we have decided to do it by working together with organizations and help them provide the tools to build a better workplace culture and eventually leading to a more empathetic society. And we do this with our different services. And I'm not going into very much detail, but on overall, we have 4 main services. Our D&I survey and analysis, where we do the requirement analysis of where you are at the moment and help you understand what is your current status of your company culture and diversity inclusion. And we use this insight to help you create a D&I strategy if you don't have one. If you have one, we help you integrate that into your core of the company strategy. And to support these strategies, we also have different learning programs, like an inclusive leadership program, where we work with the leaders to help them see how to work with people from different backgrounds, but also about emotional intelligence, cultural intelligence, conscious leadership, and so on. And then company culture services, which are like an add-on to whatever your requirements are. And among all these, what we do, a lot of our work is also about awareness and building this culture where we have a platform to discuss about these issues. And therefore, we decided to have this talk today about diversity, equity, inclusion, and its relation to sustainability, because we were seeing a lot of companies talking about sustainability, but they don't understand that what is the relevance about when we talk about DEI to sustainability, what is social sustainability, what are all these terminologies, but also how to integrate this into the company culture. So we started working on this ebook, which we will give away to you at the end of the session, so stay tuned for that. I invited Susanna, and she was so amazing that she just said in once I pinged her that, yeah, I will be happy to do this. Today I wanted to have her because she has over 10 years of experience working in this industry, and she has been the author of Findex and the Nordic Diversity Index report, and she has a lot of experience in sustainability and D&I itself, and currently she's the VP of Sustainability at Veikkaus. So please welcome her on our stage. Hello, Susanna. I'm gonna add you here. Thank you so much for being here. How are you doing today?
Thank you, Priyanka. I'm doing fine. Like I said to you earlier, it's this time of the year when the world has to be ready by the end of the year. So yeah. A lot to do, but I'm really happy that you invited me to join this discussion. It's close to my heart, and I really want to share any ideas and discuss with people about this sustainability and day if possible.
Yeah. But first, maybe I will open the stage for you to introduce yourself in the way you would like to. I gave a very quick introduction, but that does not justify at all what you do. So maybe can you introduce yourself?
Sure. So my name is Susanna Saikkonen, and at the moment I'm working at Veikkaus as the Vice President of Sustainability, and it's a new job for me. So I've been there a bit over 6 months. And I don't know if you don't know what Veikkaus is. It's a monopoly lottery and gambling company in Finland, and I joined the company in a very interesting stage as sustainability and corporate responsibility has been now for a couple of years in the heart of our strategy. And of course, the industry itself is quite controversial. So we really need to prove that we are worth of the trust and that that people trust us, and we really work hard to work on the more safer and kind of more safer gambling and lottery environment for our customers. Mm-hmm. And on top of that, we're also working on climate issues. So we just joined the Science-Based Targets Initiative, and also human rights and diversity inclusion are really important topics in our sustainability program. So really, let's say it's challenging, but it's also quite exciting because there's a lot going on, and definitely I feel that I have all the support from the top management and the CEO of the company and also the board of the company, so that we're really growing sustainable business.
But you also have, before Veikkaus, a lot of experience working in this industry, especially with the bigger companies, right?
Yeah. So I used to, before Veikkaus, I was sustainability consultant. So for many years, I've been working in the area of sustainability and corporate responsibility with different companies, mostly listed big companies, and I guess my expertise area is the social sustainability. So different projects, including human rights and diversity inclusion. And as a hobby, I have also published the Nordic Findix and Nordic Diversity Index with Suvi Haltula, another entrepreneur. And it's a study about status of diversity in Nordic listed companies.
Yeah,
so that's a little bit of background.
Yeah,
and
that's
probably
a
also
nice
why
hobby.
I'm here.
That's a great hobby, because for us that study has been really helpful to understand what is the status of leadership, for example, in the listed companies. And so great to have you here. And before we dive in, maybe just setting the tone up, because we talk about sustainability so much. We are talking sustainability, we're talking about ESG. Can you just a little bit give insight to people, what is sustainability and what is ESG? Are they same terms or are they different?
Well, I think ESG is a term used especially in financial sector, covering environmental, social, and economic responsibility of a company. So I guess that's mainly used in the financial sector, and when we're talking about the different kind of reporting and that sort of stuff. And sustainability means usually a bit wider perspective to the same topic. So we're basically talking about same things, but I guess sustainability refers generally also to 17 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals.
Yeah.
So ESG, corporate responsibility, sustainability, all correct terms, but I guess it depends a little bit of the context, what we mean with different terms.
Definitely. I think like sustainability just to is a broader terminology, but when we want to have sustainability more into our strategy, looking at it from like investment perspectives, then we are using more the terminology of ESG, so that we can measure both all environmental, social and economic, which is the governance part of sustainability, and we can have like a holistic view. So thanks for that. But one of the things I have been mentioning quite a lot in a lot of talks, so maybe people think I'm repetitive, but it's okay. One of the reasons why people don't take action, even when they know that we should do action, we should take action, is because we are unable to visualize the future, and we are unable to visualize how this world will look like, or how an actual sustainable organization look like in an ideal situation. So what about can you give us a little bit of this visualization of, if in the ideal world, what a sustainable organization would be?
Well, that's a really good question, and I guess it's both easy and difficult to answer. So I guess the kind of straightforward and maybe a little bit academic answer is that at minimum level, a sustainable organization does not harm environment, society, or people while conducting financially sustainable business operations in ethical and transparent manner. But that's quite, I think, academic. Yeah. Then if we go a bit kind of, if we think a little bit more complicated world, I guess it also depends on business and industry, because in different industries, sustainable, like you need to focus more on environmental stuff or more on social stuff or different things. But then I was thinking of, okay, well, what could be the vision look like? I don't know. I would like to see that a sustainable company has a positive impact to the environment, to people and society, to all of them, and not select only one of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that would be some sort of dream come true.
Yeah, I totally get it, because when we are talking about sustainability, most of the times the first thing that comes is environmental sustainability. And that is definitely super important, because we have started to see the impact of the negative impacts that we and the companies have created. So that is one of the things. But how to also integrate societies and teams and people in general into that would also be something very important. And if I see and if I visualize this future, to me it looks like that companies that have a purpose, and they conduct themselves in a way that it is not only not hurting environment and people, but actually are positively impacting, like what you said, the environment and the people, and also making profit and helping the economy of the whole world grow. So if hopefully, if the audience, if you have any comments, if you have any visualizations or vision for a sustainable organization, feel free to comment. And it would be really interesting to read those thoughts. But going and taking the same train of thought, what is the link of diversity, equity, inclusion with sustainability? Because that is something most of the people don't really relate to directly. And that is one of the reasons why we are having this talk today, that what is the link? How can we understand that it is an integral part of the sustainability strategies of organization?
Yeah. Well, I think that the first thing that comes to my mind is that, well, we desperately need new ideas and solutions to many global wicked problems like climate change and poverty. But also, I think that companies are not striving unless they are constantly reinventing themselves and getting new ideas. Mm-hmm. And then we also know that from different studies that diversity, equity, inclusion seem to have a positive influence on organizations' productiveness and also capability to innovate. So that kind of, I think there's a clear link why business owners and leaders should be interested in increasing diversity, equity, and inclusion in their organizations. Of course, it's not easy. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't happen just like that. But I think that really, like, because there's a link. So I think that this is at least one reason. Because if you're not as a business, if you're not productive, if you're not able to renew yourself, you will be sooner or later a gone business. So I think there's one link. And then when I'm thinking, like, because our Veikkaus is digital, like highly, like we're a technology company. A lot of our business is digital. And so for us, it's really essential to get the right talent and really to be able to innovate and come up with new ideas. And especially now when we are really focusing on responsible gaming and our sustainability efforts, I think that we really also need to be able to renew ourselves there. Mm-hmm. So without right people, we're not able to develop our business and sustainability efforts. So I think that the more we kind of grow our reputation as a inclusive company and welcoming diversity, the easier it is to get like talent and right kind of people.
Yeah, I also think, like, because when we talk about sustainability, and like we mentioned ESG, it has three main pillars, which is the environment, but also social and governance. And I think the social aspect is so important in carrying out any environmental or any economic outcome for the company. Like you said, if we want innovation, if we want productivity, that which is going to enhance the economy or the profits of the company, but also maybe like you mentioned, I totally get it, that finding these unique solutions to different problems. Because at the moment, if we see that the climate change is impacting the communities who probably are not even in the positions of saying their part, and involving different communities and people from different backgrounds into this discussion and giving them the platform to also provide their experiences to solve these issues could be helpful for the organizations, I guess, to be beneficial for the communities that they operate in. So I totally get it. And we have dealt in this ebook that I'm talking about very deeply. We have been collecting all these resources in a one spot place. So definitely there is a lot of resources that are available for us to see why it is important. And maybe we can take it a little bit further and understand what is the status of social sustainability, if I talk, or diversity, equity, inclusion in the Nordics at the moment. So, because you have worked on the Nordic diversity index, and also you are working on the sustainability field, what do you see where we are at the moment? And is it like, are the companies more active towards environmental sustainability, or are we starting to also consider social sustainability in these aspects?
Yeah, well, if we start with where are we at the moment, where are we in the Nordics in social sustainability and day in the workplace. So I guess that in the Nordics we are all like, I guess we are referred as a model kind of child for equal society, and we are in many ways. So we have achieved a lot. Mm-hmm. But then if we look at, for example, the study, the Nordic Diversity Index, we still have work to do in business sector. On even on gender equality, because we see that that the leadership is still quite male dominated. Mm-hmm. We don't have like it's like, especially well, I guess it was because we studied Finland, Sweden and Denmark, so we saw that it's quite same kind of structure, that male dominated, like usually it's all the leadership is from business, comes from business school. Mm-hmm. Like comparing to many other parts of the world where we can see that you get from different degrees. You can be a little bit from different backgrounds. You can be a business leader, but especially in the Nordics, it seems that it's heavily dominated by business school. Okay. And then the second one is the engineers. Mm. And then also quite same, like it's not so rare that all the leadership team, for example, is born in 60s. So and then you have one from the 70s maybe. And yeah. So yeah. So it's quite kind of like, and also we could see examples, like we didn't really have that as statistic, but we could see, especially in the smaller companies, if we look, for example, the Finnish companies, that the leadership team could come from the same school, and they are about same age and probably group of friends. Yeah. So of course that can lead you to and of course they've been successful and been able to lead the business to some point, but I'm sure that there's a limit where you can go with so similar type of people. And then you also, I guess it's also the question of example. So if people don't see anyone like them in the leadership, it's harder to kind of imagine that I could be there. I could be one of them.
So how has it been in, like, for example, in Veikkaus or the companies that you have worked with? Do you see there is a change? Or people are like at least thinking about moving into a more positive and more diverse boards and leadership?
Yeah, well, actually, Veikkaus is quite interesting because I didn't know the company very well before I joined it, and now that I've learned to know the company, the one surprise was me how like gender equality. Actually, we're really good on that. So if we look at the general kind of structure of the whole staff, and then the gender diversity in the leadership and the top management and the board, and so we actually are doing quite well. So that was one positive surprise for me. And then other thing is that we have also quite good age range in our company. So it was also so quite positive, because as a tech company, you also tend to you always tend to have only young people, and then you might have a couple of older people in the management, but then of course we are very Finnish, and I think we need more diversity in the company. So, but we have very positive attitude, and kind of like wanting to develop more and do more on this topic.
Yeah, definitely, because when I was reading the Nordic Diversity Index, I think at some point when it was released, that the other, I think the metrics that you measured was nationality. I think that there is so less representation of people from different nationalities or different ethnicities as well. And so at the moment, I see that there is, to some extent, some things have been done, but we still have a lot of work to be done in terms of quite a lot of work. So, for example, we have been having quite a lot of discussion in Finland about racism and how to work with LGBTQ plus community, and that is also all a part of social sustainability, because when the demographics of the country or the region changes, we also have to think and change how the organizations are going to support these societies, because sustainability is not just about your customers, but it's about your own people and the community around you. And if the community around us is getting more and more diverse, and they want to know from the organizations that how can you be a positive impact to us, then I think having a strong representation and an inclusive workplace culture is going to be very helpful for in the long run. But what do you think, now that we have been talking about these, how to integrate, or what is D&I and how it is relevant, what do you think that how will it change if let's say all the companies decide to integrate D&I or social sustainability, as we say, in their strategies? Is it going to help them step up their ESG performance? Is it going to help them have a better business case or have a better business in the long run? What do you think? So we have a lot of people here who represent different companies and who might be still thinking about why we should invest in D&I. So that is the main question, maybe.
Well, I don't know how I see it is that if you want to be the kind of the champion, if you want to be successful, you just have to. It's something that the world, like, we're not in some sort of bubble in any of the countries, and we see that people are all the time, like the moving of people is growing, and we get like, I think it's something that we just can't stop. So, and I guess it's one of the mega trends that also, like, young people, that why would they stay in Finland? Like, why would they want to stay in Finland if they have better options somewhere else? So we really need to be able to be wanted for the wanted working environment. And I guess one of the thing is that you want to see different people around you, and the kind of that innovativeness and that energy that comes from kind of diverse groups. It's something that really feeds people and is inspiring for many.
Yeah, definitely.
So, and then when we see the evidence that it really helps you to be more innovative, it helps you to be more productive, it helps you in maybe hiring better talent. So why would you not invest in that? But of course, it's not free. Like, it's not something that you just decide that, okay, now I want to be more inclusive and diverse. It's not something like you have to invest in it. It's the same with every, like, I think all sustainability, because sustainability in such is it's about change management, because you always want to change something when you be talking about sustainability. It's development, it's constant development. So of course, when you want to change something, it requires investment, it requires hard talks, it requires good leadership, so that you can convince people that this is good for us, it's good for you. So
true. And also,
I think,
yeah. And also, like, I was just thinking that when you are saying to do any kind of change management, and if we are talking about sustainability, we have decided to invest on the environmental, like how is our carbon footprint and those kind of things, we still need the buy-in from the leadership. We still need the buy-in from our employees. We still need the buy-in from our customers on all the change that is happening. And we need to understand that all those people are people. So change management is always about people, as I see. Of course, we have processes and systems to enable that. We can have different methods and tools, but eventually it will come on how we can enable our people to make those changes. And I think also in terms of like ESG performance, and why I mentioned that is because a lot of investors these days who are now, let's talk about like the growth companies, let's say, are very much focusing on how the company is doing in terms of their environmental and their social and governance performance. And working on these topics can definitely boost your ESG performance, and it can also boost your reputation as an employer in the employer branding, and of course in front of the customers. So it's a great win-win opportunity that you get to enable the people who are going to be the reason of change of sustainability in the organizations, and also make a positive business case from that. So that's I see it as like a one bullet to shoot multiple things. I don't know if that was a good analogy, but hey, that's fine. But what about then, how do we do that? So you have been working as a sustainability consultant. Maybe you can like run us through what are the steps if the companies have not thought about having a sustainability strategy, or if they have, how can they develop and how can they integrate these D&I aspects into that?
Well, well, I guess that you have to start approaching it from kind of the business point of view, if you're in a very very start, and you have not realized yet that that's something that you also need to work on sustainability. I think that the more you can get like evidence and understand what is the relationship between sustainability and the social sustainability and your business, and what is really the most relevant thing in that. So don't try to kind of cover everything, but try to find the sweet spots, like what is really the most material, most relevant and try to find the success, kind of like how to make this as a success factor in your business. And then you need to have a buy-in from the top management, basically the leadership, because without that it will be just kind of probably nice to do, and you get some results, but it will never be really strategic. So but to get there, I guess there are many ways. So you can start from the grassroots, and you can start collecting the feedback from your customers or from employees. So you can start kind of collecting that information and to back up your reasoning why this is important. But and kind of start kind of growing that momentum. But then it has to be really, without that leadership buy-in, it will be nice thing to do, but not really effective, I would say.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, like the first step would be to understand the interest among your people and the customers, and collect evidence that can prove that this would be a good business case for your organization. And of course, if you can have different tools to do these. You can have like focus group interviews or surveys, or you can have a market research of your customers and collect the evidence. You can study your competitors and peers in the organization, and then get the buy-in from the leadership. That step would not be required if the leadership is on board from the very beginning. But I have seen in my work, at least, most of these initiatives are run by one or two people in the company, and they are the one like forcing it forward. So creating this community, getting the leadership buy-in, and then seeing where is the sweet spot for you. So of course, when we see the whole picture of D&I, it's like, it's about like how we can find where we are at and where we want to go. And it looks very overwhelming, but there always could be like one or two places where we could be, and where we can start from.
And I think that's important, that accept that world won't be ready in a week, so or in a month. So kind of accept that you can start with something. You can start with small step and be happy about that, and then go to the next step and start doing. And I always say that to start doing something instead of nothing. So it's always
start small. And definitely, and I would maybe go a little bit ahead of that and say that whatever you do, make sure you're measuring it, even if it is like a one workshop, because it's so important to measure what was the impact of that, who joined, was it like all the people who are interested in the topic, or was it people who are actually making decisions, and the ones who we want to create an impact about. So measure those things and ask people about your initiatives in the organization. So it's super important, even if it's a small initiative, to measure what you're doing so that you can take it as an evidence to continue this work. Because like you said, Susanna, it's not free. And you have to, and that is one of the biggest challenges that we have, like how to get the companies invest into the sustainability as a whole, because they don't see a very good business case immediately. And not all the companies have a very long, far-sighted vision to see like how it would be profitable for them in the long run. So yeah, I think that was like a good set of instructions that people can start doing. And maybe in some next session we can go and dive into those small steps and action items that we can take, so that we have more practical action items for you. But this session was more like an introduction to what can be done and what could be the steps. So
yeah, I have one more tip that is very easy to also do, is just start talking with everybody, and everybody who wants to listen. just start talking about these things. So that's the way also you can kind of influence on people's thinking, and maybe they remember at some point that, oh yeah, she talked about it, and come back to you. So I think that that's basically with anything that if you had a thought, then you want to start spreading the word. So just start talking.
Yeah, but do you have any best practices? Like, let's round up this discussion and open the floor to the audience, and please send us your questions if you have any, and we'll take it now. But have you seen any best practices in your consulting journey, so long journey? Like, can you give us like some bits and pieces of initiatives that were really good, or some pointers that maybe our audience could just go and try with
enhancing the day strategy? Well, I guess that at least in Finland, because the companies that I've worked in this topic are Finnish companies, so a lot of companies are kind of in the beginning of the road and the journey. So there are kind of, I think, good practices and examples that are kind of part of what you can start doing. I think one actually good backbone or kind of backup for you is to look at the regulation, kind of, because we have this equality law that actually is a quite good base. It's nothing glorious, but it actually covers a lot of these issues. So use the law as a background and your backup. But then to get beyond that point, because compliance is one thing, but to be even compliant is actually, it requires some actions. But then I think one good example what I've seen is to have this kind of equality, how would you call it, kind of ambassadors, or this kind of group of people who both kind of whose work is both to make sure that the compliance level is done, but then also develop, like, think about how can we take this topic forward, and in a really big company with very different kind of levels and kind of locations, they had from very different parts of companies. So from the logistics and from stores and from headquarters and from different levels also. So they had this kind of group of 20 people who really were coordinating this subject, and I think that was quite good.
I think that's always like very essential. Of course, the leadership has to be accountable, but it's always good if there are people on ground who are the ones responsible for pushing it, because like I said, that it's so important to have allies in the company for the topic itself. And most of the companies, they create the strategy and everything, but they don't implement it because they have not defined who is responsible, who is accountable for doing these things. So I think that's a good pointer, that to have some kind of work group around this topic where you can have people from different sections of the business or business units, so they can bring in their own challenges and what needs to be done there.
Yeah, and also that it's something that you have to make it visible. And another example is that it's actually a really good example that of a company who invested quite a lot in training people from, and they really started from the top like the management group, and then also like training people on these issues, like having this quite extensive training program. And that, but I think both of these examples requires that you can't do it if you don't have a license to do it, because you can't really organize that type of activities.
And also, like when you mentioned training program, I just wanted to point out that it's not, training programs are like long-term programs, so people can actually have a more transformation step by step, and not just having like one workshop a year. Because that's not gonna do anything. So having those training programs and measuring the impact of that, but once again, buying in and investing in it is so important. Thank you so much, Susanna. And let's take some questions if we have any. Anyone wants to ask anything to Susanna or me, feel free. There was a question about, would you be able to point to those studies or research talking about D&I boost to productivity and innovation? And I think Heini Aurora put a link to one of our blogs where we have collected all these research and stuff, and there is also resources you can check out. But maybe, Susanna, we can also link your Findix and Nordic diversity report link here, so that people have, they can see it. So maybe Aurora, if you find it, you can put it, or then I will find it and put it before we end this.
I can send you the link. It's
okay, great.
No problem.
Any other questions coming up? We don't see any questions in here at the moment, or let's see, but there are a lot of comments, which is good. I'm seeing them only now. But while, if you are coming up with questions, feel free to do that. And meanwhile, I'm going to just share the ebook that I have been talking about since the beginning and tell you how to get it. I'm just going to share my screen and see, where is it exactly? Let me see where, where did I put it? Here. Yeah, so I'm going to also take a second to invite maybe Aurora, if you would like to come up and share this. So this is the Sustainability Diversity Inclusion guide of why it is related, why is it important, and what we can do about it. And Aurora and Julia, they have worked really hard to collect everything on this topic, and we have come up with I'm just going to show you the table of content here. So understanding what is the connection. We just talked a little bit with Susanna about the connection, but if you want to go deeper into understanding what exactly, how they are related, you can check it out there. And in the section 2, we talk about why it is crucial for the success of your company. And there are also a few points that maybe you can adapt to your own organization. And so maybe I will just give it to Aurora, because she has worked so hard working and writing about this. So maybe she can share a few words about her experience and why we decided to do this and why was she interested in writing this. So I'm going to also add you to the spotlight here.
Okay. Hi, hello everyone. Thank you, Priyanka, for introducing me, and also thank you, Susanna, for the super interesting and insightful discussion. I wanted to thank Julia, who's here in the audience, that co-authored this ebook. So hi, thank you. Well, I would say that it's very important maybe to first start by addressing why we decided to write this ebook, because we've noticed that sustainability is becoming more and more a trend within the diversity and inclusion industry. And we actually have seen many, more and more company business leaders coming to us and asking questions about sustainability and about how they can actually embed sustainability within their diversity and inclusion efforts. At the same time, though, we realized that there wasn't a, let's say, a comprehensive and accessible resource that would address this whole issue, so both sustainability and diversity and inclusion. Of course, there's a lot of material about that online, but it's pretty scattered. So we decided to kind of write a sort of summary explaining what is sustainability, the 3 pillars of sustainability that were mentioned during the talk, what is diversity, equity, and inclusion, as Priyanka introduced at the beginning, and especially why these 2 concepts are actually so strictly intertwined, and why they should be considered together while developing a sustainable business strategy. The main goal of this ebook is, of course, to make businesses and business leaders understand why it is crucial for their future to actually invest time, money, resources in these 2 topics, and also offer them some sort of support as to how and where they can start their journey towards sustainability and D&I. However, let me also stress that this ebook is not just for business leaders, but it wants to be a one-on-one guide for everyone who's interested in the topic. So if you feel like you want to learn more and you don't have a deep understanding of sustainability or diversity and inclusion, I think that that's anyway useful for you too. So you will receive actually the link to download it as a PDF right after the event. So that's all you need to do actually to get it.
Yeah, and if you haven't registered, if you're watching on the live, then you can go to our
homepage
website, businesswiz.fi, and then you can just download it from there. So thank you, Aurora, and it was really nice that you decided to spend your time, and also Julia, thank you for that. And we have one more question, so I will take that for Susanna, maybe. How to avoid the trap of organizations halting their D&I efforts at the first signs of reaching enough level. So there is a lot of time that companies, they are like, okay, now it's enough, like we can't do anymore. How do we avoid that trap?
To be able to move forward with this, you need to have goals, and I guess the more ambitious goals you put, the more difficult is it to get to the level of enough. So what is enough? And I see that this topic is the same as any other sustainability topic, that the goal is moving all the time. So you will unfortunately, you will not get ready. So, but also I think that you need to understand that sometimes you need to focus on other things. Like you need to also accept that, okay, now this was the first sprint, this was the first sprint of these topics, and now we are here, and now we maybe have to put more effort on putting something else to a good shape. Yeah. So I think it's kind of moving up and down, and also I think that's something that you also need to consider, that their life happens, and businesses are kind of face different type of things, and then sometimes you just need to change your plans. Yeah. But I think that the main thing is that when you start working on this, you have to have a clear vision and focus and kind of goal. Why do you do this, and where do you want to go, and What's the what do you try to, like, what's the problem that you're trying to solve, and what is the goal, that what is the level that you want to be in? And also, then it's also the kind of the matter of decision makers, like, okay, well, if that's what they want, that's what they want.
Yeah. And also, like, just to address the topic, because sometimes it has happened with some people we have been working with, that the first sign of pushback and they stop the initiative. They're like, no, we are not going to do this because we are losing trust among our people and those kind of things. But we need to understand that when we are creating our company strategy, we always have a risk management. We always assess what's the risk of everything that we are doing. We plan to go to a different market. That's a huge risk that we are taking. Similarly, we should consider D&I as a strategic point, that there will be risks, and being ready for that and having a plan of, okay, what happens if there is a pushback? Because that is a great learning opportunity for us as leaders, but also for our employees, as for our people. So not taking it as like, oh my God, what happened, into like, okay, how can we learn from it? And having these risk management steps as a part of the company strategy, as a part of the D&I strategy, is going to help us avoid these that we are reaching enough, because that is a certain risk that we already have assessed, and we have addressed that when we start seeing that this is getting too much, we take a step back, we reassess, we see what is important, what is the priority, and then we go ahead.
Yeah. Very good point. Yeah.
Great. We don't have any other questions at the moment. Anyone wants to open their mic and talk, feel free. But I'm going to say my thank you to Susanna for joining us today and for sharing us with her insights. We will also continue these sessions, and we will bring in more detailed and more drill down practical action points. So if you want to know something, and if you want to learn something that you are interested in hearing, you can send us a comment that, hey, can you do a topic on this or something like that. It would be our pleasure to run a session on that. Okay, there is. Thank you so much for everyone. I will stop the recording, and then we can just have a